and it looks like a really historic moment here in Ballito, South Africa. 21-year-old Luke Thompson is making history in this proud surfing nation. Look how much it means to him, the pride, the passion. He's your champion of the Ballito Pro, presented by O'Neill 2025. What a moment for South African surfing.
We're here with rookie Luke Thompson. We just finished Newcastle, the last CS where Luke graduated to the championship tour. Been a long road for the South African. Congratulations and welcome to the tour, Luke.
Thanks, Kai. Yeah, stoked to be on tour with the crew. In a pretty wild year and quite a massive one. So it's nice to get that all clear relief in Newcastle and just qualify with some of my good mates.
Yeah, you got the job done, Luke. And so let's just find out a little bit more about you for the surfing audience. Take us to where everything started. You know, where are you originally from, and where are you living right now?
So I'm originally from Durban, South Africa. I grew up on the beachfront. Well, I'm originally from a bit inland, but then moved to the beachfront when I was about 9 years old, and that's kind of where I grew up. And surfed the same beaches where Geordie grew up. I was quite fortunate that I was able to live on the beachfront and have that access to the surf every single day. And I didn't really have your like standard kind of route into surfing. Like usually people start quite young and like they kind of brought into it and their whole like scene around them is surfing. Whereas like I grew up I was born inland and then moved to the beachfront. And when I moved to the beachfront, that's when I started surfing. And I remember I got this old board off of Facebook Marketplace that my parents got me for my birthday. And I pretty much surfed that thing until it could not get surfed anymore. It was like delaminated and like just like it was so beaten up. But I had the biggest bug ever. I was like 10 years old when I started surfing, and it was just like everything I could possibly think about. And it's funny because like my biggest dream that I could realize then in surfing was literally just to get a custom board. Like that was the biggest thing I could ever think of. That was like the absolute max of my imagination. But yeah, that's where I kind of like honed everything that I have now. That's where like it molded me as a surfer growing up there. We're pretty fortunate to have access to like really good waves. And then now in the last 3 years, I moved to Cape Town, which is a bit different to Durban. There's a lot more opportunity in Cape Town, but it's a lot colder. So luckily enough, I've had some good wetsuits to keep me warm, courtesy of O'Neill. But it's a different lifestyle there. You're driving a lot more to get waves and to surf. But I've got some really good friends that I've been like kind of sparring with there, which has been good. Kind of been surfing with Luke Stipe and Connor Stipe in the last 3 years, and they've really pushed me. They're both so talented. And yeah, it's created like a different style of my surfing. But I think it's been super beneficial living there and just like having the access to like punchy beach breaks and like big barrels and where you don't really have that access in Durban as much. But yeah.
It sounds like you got a variety of waves there. What would you consider your home break though?
My home break's New Pier. It'll always be New Pier. That's pretty much where I grew up, and that's my zone. I don't think anything would ever really change that. It's pretty much given me a lot of my life in surfing, so I think that'll forever be my home break. But currently, I live in my local break is Llandudno, which is probably the world's, we like to call it the world's best closeout. It's a pretty challenging wave, but it's cool because it's actually changed my perspective. Like I remember a good example is when I first got on the Challenger series, I lived in Durban and I went to Ericero, which was quite a challenging wave. And I remember getting there and just going, I cannot surf this wave. I can't do a turn. I can't figure this place out. And then I moved to Cape Town, and a year later, I went back to Ericero, and I was thinking, oh, this is the best wave ever. It's so fun. A point break. I can do more than one turn. So that's kind of, it helped me a lot in that aspect, as it kind of like, it taught me how to challenge myself and how to surf trickier conditions and like make it work. And I'm super grateful for that.
What's the New Pier vibe like? The parking lot, just the local crew, everything? Because I feel like a lot of South African surfing originated in that area.
Yeah, it's definitely got a big heritage of surfing. New Pier's kind of brought up and grown like a lot of surfers that have come out of there, and like it's probably got the most professional surfers out of South Africa is coming out of New Pier, North Beach, and Durban. But when I was growing up, it was a really good, healthy vibe. I was homeschooled and I lived on the beachfront, like a 2 minute walk from the beach. So I pretty much spent my whole upbringing on that beachfront, and everyone around there really like looked after me and molded me, and were really good role models into like what I should be when I grow up. And luckily enough, I had people like Dave Van Zale, like pretty much surfing with every single day. And they set a really good example for me as a person. Like they were just super kind and respectful and humble in the water, but were like the most talented surfers. And that's kind of the approach that I've always tried to take is like, I don't think like, I hate taking waves of people in free surfs and like going out and like just hustling people. Like I can't do it. Way rather just surf a little quiet beach by myself or something like that. And I just think for me, it's always just shown me like, no matter who you are, how big you are, it's like you got to kind of remember where you come from and like where you were and where you started. Everyone starts somewhere. And yeah, I've just always kind of remembered where, or tried to remember where I came from and like or what my role models were and what my morals are. And yeah, to cut it short, it was a really good vibe and a really healthy environment to be around.
So yeah, speaking of, role models, who's your favorite surfer?
It's actually quite funny when I've grown up, my favorite surf has always changed. Like I liked like people more than like their surfing. So like if someone like a movie was released or something and I really liked the movie, like that surfer would become my favorite surfer. And then the next week something else would come out and like I think that was my favorite surfer. But more recently, I really like the way Ethan surfs. He's technically so gifted, and just the way he's effortlessly flows through a wave has kind of like really grasped my attention, and I've always tried to like mold a lot of my surfing off of that. But I've done a lot of trips in the past couple of years with Geordie, and doing those trips has just really made me understand how good he is at surfing. Like it's actually unreal. I did a Mozam trip with him like 2 years ago, and I remember sitting there watching him the one day and just going, "This is a joke! Like this guy is so good at surfing." I was like baffled. So I'd have to say Ethan and Geordie are probably up there for two of my favorite surfers.
Like, do you watch many clips of either them or anyone else just to kind of get inspired, work on technique?
Definitely, I watch a lot of Ethan's clips just to work on technique. He's so technically perfect, and like the way he moves his board and so effortlessly, and his arms are very present and kind of just moves off his shoulders. So I watch a lot of him for that technical side of inspiration. And then Geordie's he's just when it comes to talent and surfing, he's pretty much as good as you can get, like all rounded. When it comes to barrels, turns, airs. So I definitely watch him as well to just kind of get a bit of technical form inspiration. Yeah, I feel like if you can get a match between those two, you'd be looking pretty good. But yeah, they in my eyes, they're the most talented surfers at the moment.
Well, you made it to the championship tour now, but like I watched you, Luke. I mean, it wasn't an easy road. It was a roller coaster. 3 years on the Challenger, a couple off years. I think 2024, you were number 66 on the rankings. Talk to me a little bit about just the process and hanging in there to fulfill a dream.
Yeah, I had like a definitely not your stock standard run through the Challenger Series. I think I qualified for the Challenger Series when I was 18, turning 19, and the year before I'd gotten a wild card into Bolito, and it was my first Challenger Series event, and I got ninth. I think I got around a 16, and I like didn't really have much expectation of myself getting into that event. I kind of just wanted to go and have some fun and just enjoy it and learn. And then when I did well in that event, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, this is fun. Like, I'm going to really give this a good crack, and then qualified for the Challenger Series the next year, and kind of just took the whole year as like an experience-based year. I just wanted to learn and kind of just experience the whole scene of it. I knew it was going to be hard for me to qualify my first year, so I kind of just wanted to experience it. And I didn't do too great. I made like one or two heats here and there, and then got like a half decent but not great event result at the end of the year. I got like around a 16 in Brazil. And then the next year, I put like so much expectation on myself, like way too much expectation. I was just like, yeah, I've had a year to figure it out. Like, this was the year I want to qualify, and I was kind of just focusing on like kind of qualifying. But like, I don't think deep down I really believed it. I was just like, oh, that's a goal I've set, but internally, I didn't really believe that I could achieve it. And I think I just put all this expectation on myself, but didn't really kind of focus on the process, just focus on the outcome. And then I went through the whole year and just had the worst year. Just was like losing heats everywhere, and like for fading people after the heat in Belita and losing heats there, which was like a hard learning curve. And then I just didn't have a great year in 2024. But it taught me a lot. Like I'm super grateful for that year because I learned so much more about myself. And I've kind of always approached it with like the mindset of, I mean, and Geordie's always told me this, which I got to give him credit for, but I've kind of approached it with the mindset of like, you know what, you can't really, surfing's kind of what you do, but it isn't who you are, and you can't let your results define who you are as a person. And I've always just kind of said to myself, look, if I believe that on my day I can be on the championship tour, and on my day I can compete with the best, then I just want to carry on improving and learning, and focus on that over the result. And then when the timing's right, it'll all come together. And then at the end of 2024, I decided to not go to the last event. It was Portugal, and then straight back to back it was Brazil. And I was sitting at home and trying to figure out if I should go to Brazil or not go to Brazil. Because if I got a good result in Portugal, I could maybe pull a Joel Vaughan and get on the tour and 2 events or whatever. And then I was just chatting to my coach and going through it, and we just decided that my heart wasn't in it for that last event, and it would be the best decision to just take that event off and reset and give the next year a good charge. So I didn't go to the last event, and I went to Germany instead. I went to stay with one of my friends there, surfed the wave pool, and just did a different trip. You know, my whole life's been surf trips, and it was cool to do something different. And I remember I was sitting there in his apartment watching everyone qualify in Brazil, and just watching everyone get their results that they needed. And I just remember sitting there, and I just had this like epiphany of belief. Like I don't know where it came from. It just felt like the universe was speaking to me. It sounds like cliche or cringe, but that's like pretty much what it felt like. It felt like I just had this growth of belief that 2025 was going to be the year. 2025 was going to be the year I qualified, and like I just believed in it, and it just created such belief in 2025. And I went home after Germany and just decided I was going to give 110% into everything I could: my coaching, my boards, my physical training, my mindsets, like my mindset going into the year, and just focus on everything. And I felt like I just kind of said to myself, I was like, you know, I've been here for two and a half years or so. Like I'm not really a youngster anymore. You know, I'm more of a vet, and I learned and I understand how to do this. Like it's time that I kind of start applying what I've learned. So I just went home and focused on everything I could into improving every aspect I could. I kind of had this like saying for the whole year, and it was like 1% make 99% of the difference. And I just went home and focused on all the 1%. And then, I went into the first event of the year feeling really good and feeling really strong. And just, I had a really good connection with Newcastle and the wave. And, I was just frothing. I felt like I was going to get a big result there. And I lost first heat. And it was weird. Like usually that would kind of beat you up when you've had this like huge preparation run and you're like feeling so prepared going into an event, and, and then you lose first heat. But I kind of just didn't lose belief. Like I just stayed so true to what I was working on, and what I believed in. And if anything, it just motivated me more. Like I feel like maybe that loss kind of inspired my year ahead, because when I lost that heat, I was just like, I so badly just want to go and get a result in an event. Like that's what I want to do so bad. And I've always felt a connection with Belita. I've pretty much grown up competing there. So I went straight home from Oz and just flew straight to Belita. I literally got home to Cape Town, was in Cape Town for a day, and then just went straight to Belita. And just my whole mindset was focused on that event and just giving that event everything I could. And I just put so much effort in with my mindset going into that event. And I was so focused on the process into that event that I literally just focused on like heat by heat, day by day, and just taking it like one day, one wave, one heat at a time. And I remember after the round of 16, And there was a couple of things weighing on that event. There was the JBay wild card. Whoever did the best between the South Africans in that event got the JBay wild card. So that was a bit of a pressure factor, but it was also a motivation factor. And yeah, I kind of just went into that event and just wanted to focus on like performing the way I wanted to perform. And once I made the round of 16 and I went into the quarters, I remember being at home and kind of struggling to sleep, and just like, not because I was nervous or anything, but I just kind of told myself, like, and this was like a big changing point for me, is like, I just kind of accepted the fact of the outcome. Like I just accepted, I'm in the quarterfinals. I could wake up tomorrow and lose this heat with a quarterfinal, or I could wake up tomorrow and make that heat and win the event. Like I just kind of accepted both outcomes. I've accepted the fact that I could win, and I accepted the fact that I could lose. And the outcome kind of stopped being a base of pressure for me. And I just focused on everything I did in that exact moment. And I just told myself, like, that whole event, I've been in every position I'm going to be in this event before, whether it's been in a QS or a pro junior or some Grom comp at home. I've experienced every kind of outcome of like what could happen. And I know how to apply what I've learned into that moment. So I was super comfortable and super relaxed into that event. And then when I made the quarters, it was like the most like emotional I already got that event. Like I was that day, that afternoon, it was just like thousands of South Africans on the beach. And I made that heat and walked up the beach, and everyone was there to support me. And I just felt like the biggest kind of support I've ever felt going into an event. And I literally came in and almost wanted to cry. But I kind of held back my emotions a lot because I just wasn't done swinging. And then when I went to the semis, I was like, surely not. Come on. Like, I'd accepted all the outcomes, but I just said to myself, like, it's too good to be true. Surely I'm not going to win this event at home. Like, it's wild that this may happen. And then just woke up on that day, the waves were firing. I was just feeling good. I had my best mates there, like all of my best mates. We were staying together. I had such a good positive energy around me. And I was just like, come on, this is too good to be true. And then that day happened, and I won the event, and I looked to the beach, and I just felt the beach erupting. Like it's the first time in my life I've ever taken off on a wave and heard people cheering whilst I was on the wave, because you're so focused on the moment, like you can't even hear the commentary. And I remember doing turns and hearing the beach just screaming, and it was just like I felt like my heart was beating through the support of the South Africans that day, and it was just carrying me. Like I said to myself, I was like, you know what, if I just ride waves this finals day, I could win this event with the support. And I just went into that day just focusing on surfing, and I then won the comp and looked at the beach, and it was like my best friends, my family. It's the first time my mom's been at a Challenger Series event in like, I don't know how long. And she was meant to leave 2 days before, but she was like, no, I'm staying in the quarters. I'm staying. And she came and she stayed, and she was on the beach, and my coach, who I've coached with since I was like 11 years old, was there. I was working with him the whole event. And I got to the beach, and I just got swarmed by my best mates, and they all just ran to me, tackled me in the water. They almost flipping drowned me. I was sitting there going, just trying to struggle to get a breath. I think I was just so surprised. It's so like, I don't know, it was just so many emotions coming out. That it was just like, it was a wild moment for me. It was the proudest moment of my surfing career. It's like, I've never been more proud to be a South African and feel that support. Like, I remember waking up the next day, and I was in JBay. I flew straight to JBay, and I just woke up crying, because I was like, I can't believe this. Like my emotions couldn't like comprehend what I had done, and I just woke up pretty much crying. But yeah, it was a wild experience.
So was that the moment that you felt you could qualify for the CT, or did it happen later on in the season? When was the moment that you felt like, okay, I'm going to qualify this year?
Well, I mean, that's the weirdest thing. Like, I felt like I was going to qualify this year before the year even started. Like I knew that I was going to qualify. I just had this, like I told you about that, I don't know, that weird like epiphany thing that I had, but I just knew I was going to qualify before the year had even started. And even when I lost first heat in Newcastle, I just knew I was going to qualify. For some reason, I just had this like belief and knew it was going to happen this year. And then when I won Ballito, it just kind of like cemented that belief, and like kind of made me just feel like it was more true. But I just think in Benito, it was the first time I've started applying everything that I've learned throughout my career and throughout my time on the Challenger Series. It's the first time I started applying everything that I'd learned into like the action of competing. And I think that was a massive thing for me because I started looking at myself less as like a dark horse and just going, you know what, like I've been here long enough to be a veteran of the Challenger Series that I know what to do and I know how to manage these positions that I've been putting myself in. I feel like it's so easy to put yourself under so much pressure on the Challenger Series, but I was just kind of surfing off the process, and that was my whole thing. This whole year was just focusing on the process and going like, okay, like I've set my goal and that's to qualify. But what's going to help me achieve that isn't focusing on the goal of qualifying. It's focusing on the process to getting all those steps right and getting all the steps in your preparation right. And luckily enough, I've had a really great team around me. Like my biokineticist at home put in so much effort with me. We were training literally every night before, in a month lead up before Belito. I was training every single night with him. And that was a massive part of my process in Belito. My coach, he was like a huge part. We just like gave each other 110% going into that event. And then I've been fortunate enough to have a mental performance coach, Paddy Upton. He's quite well renowned around the world, and he's kind of taken me under his wing. And I just kind of brought him so many problems at the start of the year. I just brought him all these pretty much like a basket and package of mental emotions to him. And it was just like, okay, how do we focus and how do we get through these things? How do we kind of move forward through this process and learn and approach these moments when they arise? And we kind of just focused on that and focused on like getting my mind into a place of going like, okay, if this happens, you're aware of it and you know how to manage it. And if this happens, you're aware of it and you know how to manage it. And I just became a lot more aware of my emotions. And when these moments would arise of like nerves and pressure and anxiety or whatever, or not having good free surfs or not feeling connected with your boards or just like all these things that could happen going into an event, being aware of them and like almost knowing that they can happen. So when they happen, you can navigate and like experience or get through them with a place of like calmness and positivity instead of letting it spin you out. Cause I feel like it's very easy to do that, like going into an event and just going, look, like if you're not going into an event 110%, you can still do well in the event, but and all these little things. And I feel like that just kind of cemented my belief. And then after Belito, it was just like, okay, everything I've been believing and working towards is like now become more of a realization and more true, and like put out there. And then after Belito, obviously with last year, there was a couple of guys that like won events and didn't qualify. And I really just wanted to focus on earning my spot on tour. I really wanted to surf for it. And I really wanted to, I didn't want it just to get handed to me with one event win. Like I wanted to go and back myself up and show not everyone else, just show myself that I deserve to be on tour. So that's when I kind of went into the rest of the year, and I went in with that mindset of going, I really want to show myself that I deserve to be on tour. So if I'm in a heat where I'm fighting against the grain, like I want to prove to myself that in that moment I can rise up above it and be able to perform. And I think Portugal was a big one for me. I think that's where it really like cemented my belief of like what everything I was feeling becoming true, because I had a big point to prove to myself there. I felt like when it comes to right hand point breaks, I feel like that for me in my surfing is a big strength growing up in South Africa. And I knew that was going to be that event and Benito were going to be like my two events to kind of rely on. So I got to that event early. I just flew by myself. I went there by myself and went early. And I was just getting as much prep as I could into that event and had a massive South African crew behind me. Like all my best mates came and it was like amazing. And I really just wanted to focus on my performance. I knew that I wanted to get a result there, but I was putting 110% of my effort into my performance and just being proud of the way I was surfing. And I feel like for me, I was really able to do that in that event and showcase like my repertoire of talent. And that for me was like a big moment and like a turning moment in like just like solidifying that belief of going, all right, like I'm earning my place on tour. But yeah.
And then all that came together, Newcastle, you got the news. Okay, the numbers are in. You're qualified. It's official. How was your feeling then when all the dust is settled, Luke, and now you're on the championship tour? What was the feeling when you first got that news that it's official?
Yeah, it was a wild feeling. Like the way I can describe it is like a year of emotions coming out in one day. That's like pretty much how I can describe it best, because like your whole year, your qualifying year, you kind of put so much effort into just everything, and you suppressing all these emotions because your job's essentially never not done until the end of the year. Like you get these all these good results, and you know your job's still not done. So you're always just kind of suppressing these moments and like focusing on like the job at hand. And like for me, it was weird in Newcastle because I was on the Gold Coast before and I got injured. I hurt my back free surfing, and I wasn't able to surf in Newcastle. Like I was on this crazy preparation routine, and I actually wasn't able to surf in Newcastle before the event. The first real surf I had was the day the comp period started. So I was pretty much like going into that event like a little bit blind in terms of like my connection with my like body and my surfboard and like feeling the waves out. But I was just so positive, and so like I had such a good process of like preparation. Even if it didn't involve surfing, I felt so prepared going into that event. Like I was on a crazy like rehab routine to heal myself. Like I was pretty much, my days consisted of like waking up, doing rehab exercises, stretching, and doing activations. Then going to the beach, I'd watch the waves with a notepad and kind of see what the ocean was doing, and just kind of like put myself in going, okay, if I surfed a heat now, what would I be doing? And then would go home, ice my back, do foundation exercises, then go to sauna, ice bath to finish the day off, come home, stretch, eat, and go to bed. And that was pretty much what my preparation was going into that event. And it was funny because I was staying with Liam O'Brien, and I kept on saying to him, I was like, bro, this is, I'm going to be the most recovered going into this event, and I haven't even surfed a wave. But yeah, it was an interesting one for me. So like there was a lot of weird emotions going into that event because I didn't really surf, and like woke up the day that event started, and it was the best my back had felt going into the event, and had a free surf that morning. And it was the first free surf I'd had in the past 2 weeks without pain. And when that happened, I just became so grateful that I was back in the water, and I was just so stoked to be in the water. And all I wanted to do was just surf. Like all I wanted to do the past like year is just surf as much as I can. And I couldn't surf going into that event. So when I kind of got the all clear from my back to kind of get back in the water and start surfing, I was just so stoked to surf. And then the event happened, and like you crunch a bit of numbers, and like you kind of know what's going on. And then I knew that if I made my heat that day that I qualified, if I made that heat, I was on tour. And I was super relaxed going into that heat. I really just wanted to go out and surf. I feel like I've been quite challenged in those types of conditions before. I surfed a couple of heats similar at the US Open and not done too great. And I really just wanted to go out there and focus on my performance for myself, and then pretty much give it all I could. And I didn't have the greatest heat. And I got like pipped by Dakota at the end. And I came in and I wasn't even that bummed. I was just like, you know what, like, the fact that I was even able to surf in this event, like I'm super grateful for that opportunity. And like now I just kind of need to trust that everything's going to fall into place and work out the way it's meant to work out. And then there was that heat when Mateus lost for me to qualify. And like I think he really deserves to be on tour. And I'm so stoked he is on tour now, because he's had a rough couple of years with like just missing it, and he really deserves it. So I'm stoked he's on. But yeah, it's a weird like mixed bag of emotions, because you don't want to celebrate someone losing, but like obviously you've just qualified. So sitting there on the beach, and the score came through, and then Will had told me that if at the end of this heat I could qualify, and I knew I'd kind of crunched a bit of numbers after I lost. And I was sitting there, and I have my best mate here. He's my filmer, and he's literally one of my best mates. And he just hits me, and he just goes, "Hey, you just qualified!" And I just was like, I've got a bunch of like screen grabs from like the video footage, and I'm just like, can't believe it, and just like so many emotions. And that's pretty much the best way I can describe it. It's actually a year of emotions coming out in one moment. And that's it. Like, you know, every bit of pressure that you felt throughout the year, every bit of anxiety, every bit of like, just everything, you know, all the pain from like losing heats and just not getting there. And like all those moments just come out in the form of happiness and gratefulness and joy. And I was just like, I couldn't really like even speak the words. I couldn't really come out of my mouth. Like, yeah, it was a wild moment. I feel like I've been chasing this dream for so long, and like to finally get it as a South African is like such a special thing, and to be able to share it with Geordie, who's on tour. yeah, it's just I could not be more grateful. And I think like surfing's given me so much in life, and like I never really thought that it would get me to this point in life, and I'm just so grateful that it has.
Well, you're there.
Yeah.
You know, you can have your jersey with with your name, your own number, your locker. But, you know, coming in this year as a rookie, 9 stops. I mean, rookies are guaranteed 9 stops on the championship tour and the finale at Pipe. So it's going to be a tremendous year, Luke. What are you looking forward to when we're talking about, you know, basically the dream tour this year? What stop are you looking for? What couple of stops are you looking forward to?
Yeah, the dream tour is back. It was a good year to qualify.
Sure is.
Yeah, but I think it was also sick that you qualified in a year where like everyone performed so well. Like it was such a high scoring year. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I'm staying with Oscar Berry at the moment, and going into the event, like into Newcastle, we were both kind of talking about it and what events we would most look forward to and what moments we just fighting for. But it was like so funny, like you kind of thinking about it and you go like, oh, if we qualify, you know, like if, because like you didn't want to jinx it or anything. And then we came back and we were like we've done it because I'm staying with him again now. We've done it, like we rookies on tour. But I'm looking forward to everything, to be honest. Like I'm just looking forward to embracing everything and just being like a sponge and soaking up everything I can and just learning and experiencing. But when it comes to events, I think the first 3 events are 3 events that I'm really looking forward to. Bowls is such a special event. It's like the most iconic event, pretty much out there, you know. And I'm just so excited for that as a starter event. And then I really enjoyed this experience on the challenge series of having pipe in the mix. I didn't do too great, but I really enjoyed the challenge of going there and pushing yourself and like surfing from a different point. Like usually most of the time you kind of groveling a bit on the QSs in the challenge series, and like going into pipe, it was such a different feeling because most of it was like based off of fear. Like you were just sitting in those free surfs so scared. And I really just wanted to push myself and like push my limit of fear and kind of get into a position where I was uncomfortable. I mean, when I was comfortable in the uncomfortable. So for me, it's a big event, but I'm really looking forward to Chopes. I really want to push myself at that event and give it a good crack. So I'm excited for that. And then pretty much every other stop on tour, like everything looks crazy. I mean, Lowers is going to be unreal, but yeah, I think Bowls will be a special one. Like that's such a special, iconic event. And to start the year, it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, you spoke of, you know, right-hand points being your strength. Luke, you got, I think you have 4, right? You have Bells, right? You got Punta Roca, you got Snapper, and you got Trestle. So you got 4 basically right-hand points this year on tour.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think Trestles is a pretty cool one to be able to surf in a heat. That's like you surf free surfs there and it's so crowded. And now to get the opportunity to surf there in Arashi and to have Snapper back is pretty unreal. I think Snapper is going to be such a special event. Like that beach setup is just unreal. It's always so packed and the waves are always so good. And to be paddling out there in a free surf is going to be something. I mean, paddling out there in Arashi is going to be something special, especially on the CT. You know, I've watched that final of Felipe and Julian probably like 100 times. And just all the emotions and everything and everyone on the beach and to be able to feel that's going to be pretty cool and a very special moment. And yeah, I'm just excited for all the events. I think Punta Rock is going to be a sick one. That's like probably the most like long right-hand point break on tour. And everyone just rates it as like one of the most fun waves. So I'm super excited to be there and be in boardies and just surfing a right-hand point break.
So we talked, Luke, about, you know, your body and getting your body ready. Your mindset's been really strong. What about equipment? What about boards? What are you going to do what kind of adjustments for boards are you doing? I mean, tell me your board story going into the championship tour.
Yeah, so at the end of last year, started kind of thinking about it and talking about it if I were to qualify, what kind of board adjustments I'd make. And I'm back on the Gold Coast now, and that's pretty much what I've been doing is just making board adjustments and kind of figuring out what's going to work for me going into tour. And I've decided to go an inch longer just to kind of draw a bit of a longer line on all the waves. Because I mean, most of the time you're going to be going up against guys as a rookie. You're going to be going up against guys that have been on tour for longer than you. They're higher ranked and they're obviously so talented. So having that bit longer rail line would just allow your surfing to look a bit bigger. So I've got up an inch. My boards in the Challenger Series were 5'10". I've gone up to 5'11", and I think most of the time I'll probably be riding a 6'0". And then I've gone a little bit wider. I was on 18 and 7/16, and I've gone to 18 3/4, and then a little bit thicker as well, just to kind of allow the board to do a bit more of the work and have less downtime in between. I mean, less movement in between turns. So the last couple of days on the Gold Coast, that's pretty much what I've been just refining and working on. And I feel like I've got a good base to work off of now going into tour. And yeah, I'm super comfortable with the boards and the work I've done. And I'm just looking forward to kind of putting them on an open face at Bells and Margs and Snapper and the rest of the year.
Is there a particular shaper that you're working with, or are you working with a variety of shapers in these boards?
I'm working with DHD now, and he's been super helpful. He's just pretty much just been an information box. Like, he's just been giving me so much knowledge, and like just spending time with him in the bay and watching him shape boards and kind of explaining what you're going to feel on the board and why you're going to feel it. And this is what he's doing, and this is what you'll feel, and this is what the result of the outcome will be. And just kind of working with him and hearing that and having the access to that information, and then going and riding the boards and to be able to feel what he's saying and what he's put into the board is like a big thing. And then be able to call him and give him the feedback and then make adjustments off of that. So that's been pretty cool. And I've been doing a lot of that here on the Goldie, just like get a board, ride it, feel how it goes, feel what it does good at, what it could improve on, and what we need to excel in, and then give him a call and chat to him. And he's super open to all the feedback and honesty. And yeah, it's been really cool working with him. Yeah, pretty grateful to have someone like that in my corner. And yeah, he's been a very good benefit to me in the last while, just to learn and experience. He's got so much access to like Mick and Ethan and all these guys who have put so much effort in with boards. So it's just amazing to listen to him and learn from him.
Yeah, I think so. I think Darren Hanley's one of the most passionate, as well as and he's also so invested into all of his surfers. You know what I mean? Like, I've just watched the guy, how he works with Mick and Steph and Ethan, and he's really invested in, like, when you win, he feels like he wins. And that's what you want in a shaper. That's pretty awesome, man. I love hearing that.
Yeah. I think with Darren, it's pretty cool. It seems like his kind of passion is just to make really good surfboards, and the best surfboards he can for the people that are surrounding him. So it's super cool. Like, you can see how much he believes in it and how passionate he is about it. And to have that in your corner, when you speak to him about boards, he gets super involved and super passionate, and he just wants to keep it improving. And I feel like to have that intention is so good. And for me, it's super cool to have the opportunity to work with someone like that.
Yeah. He's got a little secret sauce in some of those boards that he's shared with me, but we don't share them right here. But yeah. Hey, so who are you traveling with? You got a partner? Are you going solo? Who are you traveling with for the CT? Who's your crew?
Yeah, we got a fun rookie class. I've been spending a lot of time with Oscar Berry in the past year. We've pretty much been in the same position on the Challenger Series for the past year with like the whole qualifying thing. So it's been super cool. We've both kind of gotten a lot closer because we've just kind of been discussing all the like feelings and nerves and pressure that we've been feeling because we've both been in the same boat. So we're going to travel together most of the year, myself, Oscar, and Joel Vaughan. We got all three of us got a really good relationship, and we're similar age. So we'll be traveling with each other and just kind of firing each other up and kind of learning from each other. And Joel's been on tour for a year already, and he had a really good first year. So it'll be cool for me and Oscar to kind of be able to have access to that information from Joel. He's helped me a lot in the last year with just like whenever I've had needed advice or input, he's been there to kind of bestow it on me. So yeah, I'm going to be traveling with him a lot. One of my best mates is my filmer. So I'm going to be bringing him on tour and getting the YouTubes going and yeah, just pumping that stuff out. It's been cool kind of been getting into the YouTube scene for the past like year, and it's been fun just to kind of create stuff and learn. And so we're going to be traveling together and doing the YouTube together and yeah, hopefully producing some cool stuff. And then I think a couple of the events, I'd be frothing to go travel with the Big Brew. He said to me last year if I needed a travel buddy, he'd be frothing to do some events. So I'd be super keen to travel with him and just kind of learn from him a bit. He's been on the scene for so long and he has access to so much information, and he's actually just a really funny guy and enjoyable guy to travel with. Like whenever you do trips with him, like I think my screen time drops by like 3 hours because we pretty much just sit there and chat the whole time and listen to his stories. And he's got the best sense of humor. So it's going to be pretty cool to have a couple South Africans on tour. And yeah, I'm excited for the year ahead.
I love that. The big brew, we're talking about Jordy Smith. Like, yeah, I think he'd be good to have a travel partner, man. I've been watching the guy travel solo for the last couple of years and stuff. So I think he'll like the company too. You got a coach? You're going to be working with a coach or anything on the CT?
So yeah, I got my coach from home, Quentin Jones, who I worked with pretty much the past like 10 years of my life. And I'm not bringing him to the Oz leg, but I will be bringing him to events after that. And he's pretty much like, he understands me more as a person than pretty much anyone else in the world, I reckon. Like I consider him family. So it's pretty cool. Like the relationship we've built is a lot more than just like a coach surfer relationship. And then apart from that, I reckon I'm going to do quite a bit of work with people from the locations of the events, whereas like a lot of the events on tour, it's a lot more about figuring out the wave and then positioning at the wave when you're going into the contest over like your strategies of surfing heats. So I'm going to put a lot of effort into that. And I think even when I'm traveling with my coach, I'm going to be working with local guys on the side as well, just to kind of have access to that information of the breaks. But yeah.
All right. Well, we got the Aussie Treble coming up. It's going to be back to back to back, Luke, including Raglan. So, how's your approach? Knowing that you're going to go on once the Hooter starts, it's going to be on for 4 events back to back.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I've been away from home for like 2 or 3 months already. I left home on the 9th of Jan to go to Hawaii, and came straight to Oz from Hawaii and just posted up here. And I said, look, I'm ready to be here for the next 4 months. Like this is where I want to be. And I've had a nice reset back here on the Goldie for a couple of days. And I just when it comes to competing in competition, I love everything about it. When it comes to like the free surfs before events, testing boards, coaching, figuring out the waves. Like I love all of those challenges, and like I love learning from losses and taking the pros and cons away from it, and what can I improve on, what can I do better, and everything like about competing. So I'm just so excited for it. I know it's going to be a lot with having 4 events back to back, but I really just want to focus on enjoying it and just really enjoying the moment and like soaking it all in. And yeah, I'm excited to give it a crack. I really want to give it a full go, and like if get up against the big dogs and just give it as much as I can. Yeah, I'm really excited for it and excited for the next 4 events. I got my family coming down for the first 3, so that's going to be pretty special to have them there at my first couple of events. And just if you can't go home, bring a bit of home to you. So that's going to be really nice. And got my best mates here. I'm going to have some of our best mates coming to Moggs and Snapper, which is going to be cool. And I think that's going to create a really cool, comfortable place to be around. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for the year ahead. I mean, you dream about this moment your whole life, and now to finally be in it for me, I'm just excited to soak it all in and just process it all and just give it as much as I can.
All right, let's visualize now. Heat 3, round 1, first time as a full-time CT, or you're going to be up against Ramsey Bukhayam at Bells. Your thoughts on that opening round heat?
Yeah, Ramsey's such a good surfer, and he's a classic guy. I mean, I was so stoked when he qualified. He really deserves it, and he's super talented. I'm really excited. Like my kind of process into the rookie year is like I want to kind of get those stacked heats, and like I kind of thrive for that. It's like surfing in those moments of like kind of when you maybe should lose. And that's like the moments I thrive for, because it just makes me want to win that much more. So I'm really excited to just get put up against like the big dogs, and try to give it all I can. When it comes to Ramsey, he's such a good surfer, and yeah, I'm just really excited to go head to head with him. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to hopefully we get some good bells bowl, And yeah, we get to give it some good cracks. But yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of taking it as approach as like pretty much just surfing against another Ash Fest, and I just got to focus on what I need to do. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to soak it all in and give it everything I have.
Speaking of big dogs, you make it through that heat, you win that heat. You're up against in the next round against the big brew, Jordy Smith rematch. What do you think?
Yeah, that'll be pretty sick. I'm a lot more hungry even just knowing that could happen. But yeah, that's cool. Well, we had our first heat together at JVA this year, and that was a pretty cool heat. Like lots of stuff went on in that heat, but it was really cool. He brought the best out of me and fired me up, and I think I fired him up too. And that was a special moment. We got to the beach and we kind of spoke and just chatted after the heat, and he said, you know what, like I'm gonna see you here in 12 months. Like you're gonna be here in 12 months. Like I believe it. Um, and I was ready for I think on that.
Yeah.
Oscar's just arrived home.
Yeah.
um,
Awesome.
but yeah, he has the other rookie.
That's the other.
Yes,
We're going to catch
Kaipo.
up with you too. We're going to catch up with you too, Oz. Congratulations. Yeah. Hey, look at that was an incredible heat. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right now. 16.43 versus 15.96. So basically, both of you in that heat, you and Jordy, had an excellent heat each. That was an entertaining heat. That was a big one to watch.
Yeah, I think that event for me, I mean, I've got a strong connection with J-Bay, and I've always like kind of loved going there ever since I was super young. And it's always been like pretty much my dream to surf against Geordie there because he is like the icon of J-Bay. And to get that opportunity, I was just so frothing. And that heat was pretty wild. Like there was a shark in the water midway through that heat. I snapped my board on my first wave, and like there was just a lot of stuff going on. But I was just so excited to just get that opportunity to go up against him. And yeah, he kind of I made a mistake on starting the heat before the buzzer had gone. I didn't realize and lost priority. But then we kind of both had
Yeah.
two waves, and I got the better of the exchange. And then I was kind of frothing when I heard that. And then we paddled back out, and there was a shark. And then we waited. I sat around on the ski. He went in and watched the waves a bit, and then he came back out and dropped like an 8.5 or something, or like a 9. And when he dropped that score, I was like, "Oh, come on, why do you have to do that?" We chatted a little bit before the heat, and we weren't really chatting in the heat. And then he jumped off the ski after his 9, and I just shouted at him, "Why do you have to go get a 9?" Um, but I pretty much was just frothing. Like I caught a couple waves, and then Geordie went on a wave with like 5 minutes left. And he actually rode past me on the wave. And I looked up, and my coach was standing on the hill, and I just saw my coach going like this because he knew I was going to get an opportunity. And I was just so frothing to get an opportunity. I just started sprint padding back to the lineup. And then I got a wave at the end, and I think I needed like an 8.5, and I got like an 8.1 or something. But for me, it wasn't even really about like making that heat or winning that heat. It would have been amazing if I had, but I really just wanted to focus on my like performance going into that heat and just wanted to surf, make myself proud of the way I surfed. And I was super happy with the way I surfed. And I was at the bottom of the point, and Geordie came down on a wave at the end of the heat and jumped off the wave and like pretty much landed on me. And I just gave him a big hug, and I was just like, "Boo, this is your year, go give it horns." Like he's motivated me and inspired me so much. And to see him performing at number 1 in the world was like pretty special because I think that's where he deserves to be. And he just gave me the biggest hug and just said, "Boo, you're going to be in 12 months, you're going to be back here permanently." And it just fired me up even more and like made me feel more like I belonged. And to see how much it meant to him really fired me up as well. Like he was almost pretty much, you could see how much that emotion brought out of him making that heat and with the South African crowd. Like it made me even more proud to be a South African, but he came in and he was just like, you could see the emotion in his face. And it was pretty cool and really inspiring. So I'd be fighting to get a rematch with him and hopefully get him this time. But yeah, it'd be cool to surf with George. We got a good relationship, and yeah, I'd be fighting to have another rematch.
Yeah, that's going to be, I'm looking forward to the possibility of that happening again. That's a big rematch. All right. What or who do you want to represent as a CT competitor? I think this is my last question for you.
Um, I don't just want to be like your normal CT competitor. I don't want to like really put myself in like just a bracket. I kind of want to be a bit more unique and bring a bit more of a character and approach to it. Like I'm quite a naturally hardworking person. I've always kind of worked for or enjoyed working for what I've got. And even now, like I've worked super hard to get to this point in life, and I'm not going to stop that. But I don't think that takes away. Like I feel like when you put yourself in that category, you can become like you can kind of get put into this category of being like just like the stock standard athlete who just focuses on working hard and like going and surfing heat, and that's kind of who you are. Whereas like I kind of want to bring a bit more character and like I don't know, bring a unique kind of personality to the CT, and at the same time set a good example for the other South Africans coming up. I feel like we have such a big pool of talent in South Africa, but I don't think the belief is ready there. And hopefully I get to show them that, you know, it's possible and you can do it and can achieve it. You just need to kind of put your mind to it. But yeah, I want to bring hard work to the tour, but also bring a unique side of character and personality. I want to bring a bit of spunk and bit of life to it. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of go in as a rookie and give these guys a good go.
I love it. Congratulations on your success now, Luke, and in the future. Best of luck, best of waves. Remember, you can watch Luke Thompson take on the world's best all season long on worldsurfleague.com.
Thanks, Kaipo. Thanks for having me.